Good morning.
Good morning.
Or maybe it's not such a good morning for you. What's going on?
Well, I'm in a bit of pain here. So obviously my right hand is quite a bit more swollen than my left. This is the way my hand normally looks.
Right.
And this one, not so much. It's still quite swollen.
Right.
And it hurts. You can see this is even a bit swollen here.
So we've been keeping it clean.
Yeah,
We've been to urgent care. We have you on antibiotics.
So I'm taking my antibiotics. I'm also taking some Advil. And Heidi has got me some ice here, and I've been icing it, which is a bit difficult.
Yeah.
But it's got me feeling a little loopy, actually. It feels like I have an infection. It feels like I have something going on. The antibiotics might be making me feel that way too, which is fine. If they're doing their job, they can make me feel however they want. A couple days ago, I took Zeke out for a walk, and normally he doesn't really go very far on his walk, but this was Saturday morning, and he decided, it's early, and he decided he wanted to go for a full-on walk. So we went all the way to the end of the dock, and we went around. We were over by the restaurant, actually, and he was doing great. He had seen a guy with 2 big dogs, and he was fine with all of that. He was just having a grand old time. But there was a man who walked by, and I don't know what it was, but just set Zeke off, and he freaked out, and he started running back to the boat, and I couldn't really keep up with him even. He was just running so hard, and I was afraid he was going to pull himself out of his harness, so I tried to keep up with him as best I could and let out a little bit of line on the leash. And when we got to the boat, he had a choice. He looked at the passerelle and the steps going up to the boat, and he considered that for about, I don't know, a quarter of a second, and then decided he was going to jump all the way up onto the deck of the boat. And that's a heck of a jump, and Ozzy could probably make it, but there's no way Zeke would ever make it.
It's probably, how tall would you say? I would say
I don't know, it's a good solid 4.5 or 5 feet.
Yeah.
So it's a tall jump for Zeke. At any rate, he leapt. He was at full gallop at this point anyways, and he leapt, and he sort of plastered himself up against the side of the boat with 2 paws over the front and just went plump, and just fell right down into the water in between the dock and the boat. And he's thrashing around down there. Now, Zeke's we've never given him a bath. He's never been in water before, and it's dark between the boat and the dock. It
was daylight though. It was in the morning,
but it's dark in there, and it's tough for him to see. And I reached down with my right hand and grabbed hold of his harness and went to lift him back up on the dock, and he reached around with his head and clamped over the top of my hand underneath here, and it's a little hard to see, but there's a little dink there. And so he only has 4 canines, and he managed to bury that one and this one. And so that's a fairly dangerous thing. I didn't realize how dangerous it is to be bit like that from a cat, especially in your hand. So I went through and threw a bunch of alcohol on it. I have some isopropyl alcohol, and I just ground it down in there, and then put on some Neosporin, and then put on some Band-Aids, and didn't really think much of it, because I've been bit by all sorts of things before, and I stab myself with screwdrivers all the time, so my tetanus shot's up to date and all that. I really wasn't that worried about it until Heidi put something up on just sort of we have a little family blog thing, and she put that up there, and my sister called back very quickly. She called me, actually, and she's one who takes in stray cats and ferals and all sorts of stuff and rehabilitates cats a bunch. She's like, you need to get to urgent care immediately. And I was like, okay, why? And she said, because what can happen is cats obviously have a really strong set of bacteria in their mouth, and if those teeth get in far enough, they can deposit that bacteria into the sheath of the tendons, and even into the bone as well. These are areas that have very little circulation. A bad infection can fester in there, and you can end up with cellulitis, which is, from what I understand, is those little pink streaks that you'll get on your arm. They'll move sort of radially away from the injury, so it'll be on your fingers here, or under your arm here, in the backs of your arm, and that's a very, very bad thing, because basically what you've got is blood poisoning, and that's very hard to get rid of. So you want to go to the emergency care and make sure that you get a broad spectrum antibiotic, have them take a look at it, have them clean up the wounds, blah, blah, blah. It's just kind of a big deal, very big deal. So obviously my right hand is quite a bit more swollen than my left. This is the way my hand normally looks.
Right.
And this one, not so much. It's still quite swollen.
Right.
And it hurts. You can see this is even a bit swollen here.
So we've been keeping it clean.
Yeah.
We've been to urgent
My wrist
care.
is
We have you
swollen.
on an antibiotic.
Yep.
You're icing it, doing all sorts of stuff. So
Yeah, so I'm taking my antibiotics. I'm also taking some Advil. And Heidi has got me some ice here, and I've been icing it. Which is a bit
painful,
difficult.
Yeah.
But it's got me feeling a little loopy, actually. It feels like I have an infection. It feels like I have something going on. The antibiotics might be making me feel that way too, which is fine. If they're doing their job, they can make me feel however they want. Long and the short of this is that you just have to be very careful. And we've talked about this, our first aid kits and medical attention and things on a boat. Luckily, we're here to Marina. We're in Annapolis. And so it was an easy thing to just call up, find an urgent care center that was open. They got us right in. They were awesome, actually. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Faster than a regular doctor's appointment. It was awesome. They got us in. They got us into a room. Doctor came in within like 10 or 15 minutes. It was great. So
yeah, but we don't have any broad spectrum antibiotics on our boat, like with an emergency kit. That's like, we were lucky that we were on shore.
Right.
Because we've been offshore for at least 3 days sometimes.
Had this happened when we were offshore, we were in a foreign country, we were somewhere else where we didn't have access to urgent care or anything under insurance or whatever, this could have been a real big problem. So it's very important on a boat. You never know. That's the weirdest thing. You just never know what's going to happen, and you never know what you're going to be called on, to have to repair. Holy cow! I had no idea that this was going to be such a big deal. Yeah. No clue. Anyway, it's going to take several days for this to calm back down again. And in fact, I'm going to take the day off of work because I feel really wobbly. I think I probably need to sleep most of the day. And that was Saturday. Today's Monday.
Right.
So it's been a couple of days. I have been looking for the streaks on my arms, and they're still clean. Everything's good there. No sign of infection. I don't have any swelling right around the wound or any pussiness or any of that sort of stuff going on. It's just, it's possible he nicked the bone even. In my hand.
You didn't rest enough yesterday, and that was because...
Yeah, well, yesterday was Heidi's birthday, so we had several things we were going to do, and I didn't want to let Heidi down, so
she pushed herself, which maybe she shouldn't have.
Yeah, and so I was just a little bit, I don't know, but so my hands are just very sore. I can, that's what I should be able to do, and I can get to about there or so, and that's about it. I can't make a fist. That's about as far as I can go. Should be able to do that. I can't. It's just very swollen.
Very swollen. I can't believe how swollen it is.
Yeah. And had I have to sail the boat, I wouldn't be able to grab onto a line or a sheet or whatever. Nope. I wouldn't be able to grab anything like that. There's no way I can't hold on to it. So injuries to your hands, injuries probably to your feet, anything like that, you need to really think about how you're going to deal with those in the future, if and when, unfortunately, they actually do happen. This was very freak and very weird, but
it taught us a lesson even though we weren't offshore.
Yeah, well, think about maybe you were fishing and you're working to try to get a fish on board because you've caught this fish or whatever. Things could go bad. You could get a hook into your hand. Yeesh. Same sort of thing, and then all that bacteria from the fish and the water and everything into your hand. There's other ways, if you don't have a cat, that you could impale yourself. A screwdriver, you're working on something.
Ouch.
You could hurt yourself with all sorts of things.
Right.
If you like this content, consider subscribing to our channel. If you want real-time updates and benefits, consider another level and become a patron. It really helps us out.
It's been a real lesson to us that we need to be more careful about the medications that we keep on board, and just to be kind of careful. It wasn't I had no choice, right? Zeke's flommering around in the water, blah, 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 and the water splash, 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 splash. I had to reach down. I had to grab him and pull him up. So, and you can't get upset with Zeke. The poor guy was completely
look at this one. Yeah, and I didn't film him when he was wet. We were too busy managing getting shampoo on him and all sorts of stuff, and so I didn't get that filmed.
Yeah, so the poor guy, he just he's
not going anywhere near the edge of the boat right now.
Yeah, and he won't go on walks anymore either, so he's quite traumatized as well. So anyway, just a quick little PSA on make sure your meds are up to date, make sure you got what you need, because anything bad could happen. And what's your game plan? Okay, so you're out sailing, you're out doing an overnight passage somewhere, and you get hurt. How's that going to work? How are you guys going to handle that? How are you going to work through that? Brings up a lot of questions.
Right.
So, at any rate, okay, well, I'm sure it'll be better in a little while. It looks like it's healing, but boy, I am just out of it today.
And we wanted to tell everybody about it because it's something to think about.
Right.
Especially if you have pets on board. I don't know what dogs would do if a dog bit you, but probably something sound pretty similar.
Yeah, dog's mouths aren't quite as bad, but you know, any type of bad hit like that.
A wild animal bite. So one of the other things to think about too is your vaccinations for your pet. Ozzy and Zeke are both very up to date because we want to go to the Bahamas and they always come in annually. They also have a lot of problems with their teeth, so I actually try to get them into a vet more than once a year just to check their teeth. Zeke obviously only has 4 left, but Ozzy has quite a few still, and I'm actually going to get ready to take him to a vet here in Annapolis because of his teeth. That was like one of the first things out of their mouth at urgent care was, you know, did you get bit by an animal that you know? And, you know, obviously in this case we knew Zeke, and Zeke's vaccinations were all up to date and current, but that's something that you might want to think about because like they were going to give Franny a I don't know how many, if there's still a series of rabies shots for humans, but they're evidently very painful, so you don't want to have to get rabies shots yourself because your pet's out of date.
Hi everyone, real quick interruption here. I want to talk to you about the October Annapolis Sailboat Show that's happening. Franny and I will be attending, and we can actually offer you a discount code if you're interested in going to the boat show. The discount code is HFSAIL24 for 10% off tickets. We really hope to see you there. After Franny got bit by Zeke and after she had taken all of her antibiotics, Franny is just fine. We did both reach out to our own personal doctors, and we went ahead and had them get prescriptions for us for future incidences such as this. And it was nice to be able to talk about what had actually happened so that the doctors were able to understand that this is a real possibility of something that could actually happened to us. But a few months later, we had a contractor on our boat who was helping us put in a solar arch, and he was working with a grinder. The grinder slipped. It cut right underneath his thumb, and there was blood everywhere. Now, we were at a marina, and we did have a small first aid kit, and we realized that this first aid kit really wasn't very adequate either. So we were able to get him help. The marina had a little more extensive first aid kit. They were able to help him. We got him to urgent care. He's fine. But I realized had we been at sea, we probably would not have been fully prepared for being able to deal with trauma stuff like really bad cuts and bleeding. So I talked to some other cruisers, and they recommended a company called MyMedic. And I went and I found MyMedic had most of the stuff that I wanted, but I also went and talked to some nursing friends, and they recommended a couple other items. So I put together 2 kits. This is the one that comes from MyMedic. Comes in a really nice kit. I think they come in different colors. I wanted something either in red or orange that was nice and bright so that easy to find and would signal to somebody that this is for blood. And then I went ahead and just put together something else that had some extra little items there so that we're able to deal with blood trauma, bee stings, burns, that sort of thing. So I just want to make sure that I had plenty of stuff for that sort of incident kind of thing that might happen. Also, as far as the prescriptions go, I did find a company online, and I have not personally used them, so I can't endorse their products from the standpoint that and say I've actually used them. They are called Jace Medical. They do have decent Google reviews. They have given me a discount code if you're interested in getting $10 off. Use the code JAM-2624 for $10 off. They will give you an introductory kit that comes with some basic antibiotics. So if you do get a cat bite or something similar to that, you can also pick and choose some other things. There's a lot of over-the-counter things that you probably could just put together on your own. There was things in there, for example, like if you got a flu and you wanted the antiviral, I think there was something like that, which would be something that might be very nice to have if you are offshore and you get the flu. You do not have a way to get back on shore to get that antiviral and get better. I just wanted to put that out there for you. Thanks for watching our video to the end. Our next video is going to be about Franny working at our helm area to get all this water leaks when the rain comes in fixed. And she was inspired by another YouTube channel called Sail Life. They did a really nice job. We went ahead and followed their video and implemented it ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching to the end. And until next time, safe travels. Bye.